Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulullah. Tonight we are going to discuss about a couple of important points regarding the topic that has to do with the courage and the way we deal with each other and the situation and respond to the challenges in our life. The Prophet ﷺ used to ask refuge with Allah from several things: worry and grief, incapacity and laziness, cowardness and miserliness, death and to be overpowered by men. There are many reasons, obviously. All of these situations are quite severe and quite detrimental on the emotional state of the person. But when I looked at what links all of these issues, from worries, grief, laziness, being miserly, cowardice, being heavy in debt, and being overpowered by men, I realized that all of these conditions paralyze the heart, mind, and the body in some way. When you are, for example, in a debt, as the scholars say, this has effect on you are worried in the night, you feel humiliated during the day. When you are lazy, when you are a coward, you don't feel like acting. And this effect on your heart translates, because all of these are actions of the heart, translates in what your body is doing. As we know, the Prophet ﷺ said that if that heart, if that piece of flesh is healthy, your rest of the actions will be healthy. So there seems to be some kind of a link between what you do and how heart responds to them, which is why Iman goes up and down, and also what heart condition is with the rest of your body. There is a very old Arab story about the four evil men who were competing to be a leader of the group. So to decide who will be the best and who will lead them, they decided to have like a competition. So first man who was running for that position, he went on the street, found the old lady, and he assaulted her. So he said, you see, I should be a leader of all of us because I've done such and such thing. Next one went to the same lady and started doing the same thing, plus he started breaking her bones and so on. He went much further. So he went back to the group and he said, I should be a leader of the group because I went much further. The third person, he went even further than the first and second. He assaulted her, started breaking her bones, and eventually he killed her. So he said, you see, I'm the one who actually went fully to the end. Therefore, I deserve to be leader of this group. Lastly, the fourth man was watching and said, in fact, I deserve to be a leader. So these people turn around and say, what do you mean? Like, you didn't do anything. He said, you see, that lady was my mother. So two things point from this story. One is, you see, whether you go for evil action or the good action, the reality is that it is by what you do. People value what you do. They put you in the position of responsibility or leadership or whatever it is, whether you are good or evil, based on what you are actually doing. And one of the worst things it can happen to the human being is being indifferent. You see, in this case, this person left these people assault his own mother. Now the question for us is how often we leave what is most holy to us, what is the most important, to be abused, and we do nothing about it. In fact, today, all of these sacred things to us are being assaulted. Our values, our way of life. In our own home, kids, families, our Islam, our future, everything, our dignity is being assaulted in the media. Yet we seem to be indifferent about it. We don't take any notice. It seems like we have been brainwashed. We have become like slaves not traditional slaves, but type of a slave that doesn't recognize being manipulated by people of influence and power. So as people used to say, it is not enough to be against Firaun, you actually have to be on the side of Musa in any kind of a conflict. So indifference is not a solution. And when we compare this story, four evil men competing, I was reminded of a story of Musa, which was very interesting for us because we are the people who follow, our nation is the nation after the nation of Musa. And similarity between two nations is obviously reflected in Quran with a number of stories about Musa and the lessons. And we have similar challenges in both of these nations. As you know the story of Musa, in one instance, he went to the city and he saw two men, one from his tribe, Banu Israel, and another person fighting. He was like a Coptic, let's say, from opposing side. So his friend, or not the friend, but person from his people, called him to help him. He said, look, this guy is assaulting me, come and help me. Musa, being a very strong man, while he was trying to help, he punched the other guy accidentally and he killed him. He asked, of course, forgiveness from Allah, and Allah forgave him. And he realized that this is something very, very wrong. This is something from Shaitan. And in fact, he recognized that other person was mistaken. So next day, when the same thing happened, as he was approaching now, this time, he said to this guy, I can see you are the troublemaker here. As he was approaching, this person, same from yesterday, came into another conflict, fighting with another man. He wanted to separate them, he wanted to reprimand this other person who was troublemaker. But this person who was a troublemaker got a little bit suspicious about his intention. And before Musa could do anything to him, he said, Musa, are you coming here to kill me like you have killed the other men from yesterday? In that situation, that man who Musa helped the day before is letting out the secret between two of them. You see, this was somebody trying to help you, risking his life. Something happened, there is a secret. He killed him. No one knows about it. Allah forgive the Musa. But this person who is such a weak character, he's letting down and betraying his friend as at first instance of insecurity. And this is the quality of the people who live under oppression. You see, this man was living under Firaun's oppression for a long time. He developed, and the people under oppression developed this kind of a mentality where they don't stand by friend. You see, the strong people, strong nation, they stand by their friend, by the principle they believe in. Weak nations who are oppressed for a long time, they lose this sense, and they are very easy to betray those around them. So anyway, Musa had to go, now secret is out, he had to go, and he went to the Median, and this journey was very difficult, so he was very tired, and while he was relaxing, he saw something happening at the water well, where two girls were trying to gather water, but because shepherds were gathering and pushing and shoving around the whale, the girls couldn't approach the whale to gather water. So he approached them and he said, what are you doing here amongst these old men, basically? They said, well, we need the water. Our father is very old, and we cannot go against these people and, push and mix. Obviously, very well raised, shy girls don't want to do something that is not appropriate. So being a person, you see, Musa is not somebody who is indifferent. When he sees injustice, he does something about it. So he went, although he is in need of everything, he went to help these girls. So he gets the water, he takes it out, he gives it to them, he goes to have a rest. And he asks Allah, oh Allah, I'm in need of anything you can provide. Like, I need anything. I have nothing, I need anything. Anything is good. So what happens soon after that? He sees this girl walking very, very shy, very kind of modest way. And he says, my father would like to invite you to thank you for what you have done for us. When he goes there, their father look at him. hears his story of what happened, and he said, look, don't worry, relax. You are now in the safe hands. He says, in fact, you know what I'm going to do? He offered him a job because his daughter, while she was observing, one of these two girls, she said, oh, my father hired him for he's strong and trustworthy. She recognized something which is very important characteristic in a person, which is a competence to do a work, whether it's physical or any other, depending on the type of a job, and trustworthiness. So she recognized this very quickly, and she immediately acted on this opportunity. She didn't let the opportunities like this be wasted. And there is action immediately. She advised the father. So obviously somebody very with a foresight. Father, again, being obviously, as we say, apple doesn't go far from the tree. A father being as he is, he said, look, I will give you a job, plus I will marry you to one of my daughters. I mean, such a clever, very clever family. And of course, Musa accepted that offer. It was great for him. He got the offer to have 8 years plus additional 2 years. And the marriage. So you can imagine how fortunate he was. Something from this story that strikes the difference is, you see, in the first case, when that person gave up on Musa, betrayed him, and didn't stand by his friend, and the second story where these girls respond to the opportunity, they offer, they encourage, they recognize the reality, they have this vision and a foresight. We definitely here see that unlike 4 men, the last 4th one, who let his mother be beaten to death, Musa is opposite completely. We see Musa, when he sees the conflict, somebody beating someone, he responds. When he sees these sisters need rights, he gives them their rights. And he's given the opportunity, right thing, he takes it. In fact, as scholars say, we know he was given this contract 8 years with additional 2, if he wish. And being of people who fulfill their duty 100%, he fulfilled contract 100%. That's what we say, ihsan, perfecting your work. If you can do just the basic, that's justice. If you are hired to work 8 years, you work 8 years, that's justice. But if you have an option and you can do more, adding that extra effort is perfecting your work, which is ihsan, which is what our work ethic is. So here we see Musa definitely responding to this. Now what we need to ask ourselves, when we look at our situation, do we feel that we deserve more? Do we have high expectation, or do we settle for less? Or is there some kind of emotion that interferes with us taking that next step? If we weren't afraid of the consequences, would we go for more? I was talking last night with one young boy, 15-year-old boy, about this. And I asked him about what are some of the brave things you have done in your life? What are some of the acts of bravery? So for example, if I ask the boys here to tell me, what is something brave in your life you have done? Or anybody else? Which part is the bravery part? All right. Changing efforts. Anything? What do you feel is bravery? Which specific angle there you are looking at?
From my perspective, I think bravery is doing something outside of your capability.
Okay.
Something heroic.
Mm-hmm. So what did you do for them? What did you do for them heroic?
I don't think I've done anything to them yet. Inshallah.
All right, inshallah. Of course, lots of sacrifices fathers do, mothers. In fact, once Sheikh Abu Ayman told us the story about father who was raising his son, and I forgot the name of the scholar, but anyway, his son became a great knight in Islam. They were sitting in a desert and drinking tea opposite of each other. And next to him, this scholar had a son who was playing with the animals and things like that. Without his knowledge, there was a snake behind the son coming to bite him or something. Or maybe it was just passing. So this friend who was drinking tea, he dropped the tea and he wanted to grab the son. He said, "Watch out, snake." So as he started to do that, this scholar recognized what he's trying to warn him or something. He says, "Don't do that to my son. Okay? Don't scare him. I'd rather he be bitten and killed by the snake than raised as a coward, to live as a coward." You see? So it's very important. This issue of courage is very important. Usually when you go to the crux of the matter, you will see that we get comfortable in the things we do every single day, sort of comfort zone that we have. And usually we don't do things that we don't feel comfortable, which fall outside of this comfort zone. We call this courage zone. You need some sort of a courage to do that. And we all have something that we don't feel, maybe public speaking, maybe asking a woman for a hand to marry her, maybe going for something else, maybe in a group. We have often youth, they come in situation, it's not cool. Again, as I speak to some of these youth, and my daughter especially, she tells me in the school, especially boys, it's not cool to be practicing Muslim. In Islamic school, it's not cool to be practicing. It's not cool to go to every salah. It's not cool to read, be knowledgeable, be seen as nerd. I mean, imagine a tremendous pressure to break away from this group mentality. So the courage is usually defined then as ability and willingness to confront fear, pain, danger, uncertainty, and intimidation. And it depends on the level of complexity of what you are trying to do. One of the things we overcome this fear is, of course, making dua, and moving away from things that don't help us, and understanding that this is a test of patience. So when we are confronted with a fear, we want to do something we feel maybe we are not up to that level, but we feel like we deserve it. So we want to grab that opportunity. Sometimes what will happen with us is your heart will start pumping. Okay, your blood will start sort of boiling. You know, that you could have that fear. That is there with everybody. They will respond, especially for situation that is intimidating. But what we need to understand is that that is just your body adjusting to respond to that next challenge. Like in the sports, heart rate and all of these things. That's just your body responding to something that is going on around yourself. Sometimes I note, especially people, let's say in my generation, we fear success more than we fear to start or to fail. We fear success more. Because we often don't do things in life, or we sort of adopted spectators, sort of being spectator in a sport as a sport itself. Because we don't do things often enough, we have this sort of aversion from the risk. We don't want to risk anything. And then our confidence doesn't get built. So you might get in a situation, what if I do something and I get successful in something? And then I fail. People will figure me out. So it comes, there are many of these things that can interfere with our situation. But idea is that you move despite this fear. So we need to step up and man up. They say that when you move despite your fear, you feel free. You feel free. Okay. Now, Ibn Qayyim said something very interesting, which is that powerlessness, so this being in a state where you feel that you don't have a power, which sometimes we often like to live in that sort of sphere. Oh, okay, everybody controls media, we can't do anything. Everybody controlled armies, banks, we can't do it. Everybody controls the politics, all of these lobby groups, we can't do anything. This gives us sometimes an excuse not to step up to what we can do. And the seed we can put that will grow into something that will establish a system that will again, challenge whatever is happening around it. Ibn Qayyim says that this feeling of being powerlessness is deceptive excuse. We are deceiving ourselves. No one ever controlled everything, you know. But this is a trick, you know. When you feel everything as big and yourself as a small, inability to respond paralyzes you. We sometimes forget important principle, and that is that definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So we are now as a community, not much youth, but if we think about our community, at a situation where we need to build certain institutions, things, people on Sunnah and people who are really best of us need to build the best institution, our institutions. And sometimes we fail to do that. We take this more sort of theoretical approach to things. So we need to answer something, and that is, what are we going to fight for? See, sometimes people set the goals, these goals, that goal, whatever. I often try to think in my own life, and I notice it's been working, and many times I've done that, is focus on one specific thing. What is it that you want to change in your life in next 12 months? That you can put in your calendar today and say, you know what, my life will be different in next 12 months as a result of this one thing. Don't worry too many things, only complicating stuff. Can you think of something that every day you can sort of put resources? And that's what the courage is. Something that is just outside of your zone of comfort, something you know it's important to you. And it could be many things. It could be many, many things. We all have that something. We wanted to do this. We're thinking about it. We need to know the change. We need to go out from certain area or location or something, or take that next step in your life. We need to cut the excuses. You see, when you look at the Quran story of Maryam, Allah told her just shake the tree, you know. She just shook the tree. She just put the hand. She just did the first step. She didn't shake the tree really because it would be impossible for a woman or even a man or a group of men to shake the tree. But she has done her job and Allah gave her the fruits. So I would say that we need to start something. Every one of us need to start something. Everybody of us need to have something that they start on. Many people usually complain, no one is supporting me in this or nobody is supporting me in that. The idea of starting something yourself is to prove yourself that you believe in your idea more than anybody else. You see, the problem we have today is that we need so much and no one is going to give this to us. As they say, real power is never given, it's always taken. And it never comes just like that. It always grows organically. So you need to do something, help one person in something. If you have any skill, any ability to help somebody, you do that. When you start doing that, and you start believing in your idea, by working on your idea, other people will join you. Then you can help 2 and 5 and 10. And if you can help, and if there is a problem that affects few, it will affect many. So we have to clarify this, work on our mental fitness to be able, when we focus on the goal, sort of work through this, exercise that, you know, every day put something in. And of course, what will happen as a result of this working on this specific project is that we will be able to develop our core skills that are necessary. This will build our resilience. And I would say, while you are working on your core skills, you are developing a confidence by succeeding a little bit and doing something a little bit, and then, you know, hopefully people join you, or if they don't, it's okay, you still keep going. By working, what's going to start happening, your internal confidence will grow. Your aspirations will get a different shape. And what's going to happen then is probably the most important thing of what I've seen successful people are able to achieve is that you will break away from that fear. How am I going to move through this stage or that stage? Because that confidence from doing will give you confidence to craft solutions. It's like, you know, when you got like a video game as a kids, you know, when you get the hang of it, that's all right. You can go anywhere and play any of these similar games, you know, once you get that. And you are not afraid. So that is my advice. Do something, build your capacity, build your strengths. It will help you. It will clear your heart. We sometimes see the people so desperate, they lose the hope, and then they go do crazy things because they don't see. Like, look at the news. These people kidnapped girls, those other people doing this, all in the name of Islam, doing like, they don't know what else to do. They see everybody, the enemy is big and everything is happening. Let's just do some crazy next thing, whatever comes in the bedroom on our mind. They don't know what to do because they don't see hope. They don't see other people who are doing the same thing. That's one of the great things when you start doing, other people start joining you. And you see other people doing, so you get that hope. People are doing stuff. And you group, cluster, they cluster, people who do cluster with similar people. That gives you that hope. And you need that, especially in our time, you know, our people, let's say in my age, 30s or 40s, often we cannot go to the classes as we used to go. We cannot do this, but we go maybe smaller gatherings, so we need some social maybe support in terms of being with friends, talking, encouraging each other. So these people usually, they have that ideas, they have skills, they have experience as well. So if they don't raise the standard, if they don't show in action what, they're gonna lose these skills. So I think we have a duty to do whatever we can. And I think most of us are in a great age where we, you know, we went through some mistakes in life, maybe we've done some stupid things, and hopefully we kept that hunger for learning and figuring things out. So I ask Allah to help you, that you have high goals in your life, high aspirations, and that you don't give up on these things, and that you work hard, and inshallah you help this nation be very, very strong and able to take care of itself. Thank you very much. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.